Let's call the meeting to order. Let's just do this and then I'll talk about it. That's be my thing. Call it, and then, talk to you, spoken to, and all those other things.
Oh,
No, it's
no. Oh, yeah. Actually, it wasn't on last month either.
Did you
I
pick it?
noticed, but it worked.
Could you hear?
I could, yes.
So, meeting's called to order. I haven't done this in a long time. So as part of the president's remarks, I'll just talk about what what I've been doing with the roads, which has been significant, bunch of stuff, there's all kinds of stuff. People building houses, probably noticed up on the lake.
Yes.
I met with them 3 times, and they're very concerned and being very conscientious. That's why I had to meet with them 3 times.
Well, that was the one also with Financial Road.
Sure.
That we did not have a road bond on.
Yeah, the county screwed it up. The county gave them a permit, and without getting our stamp, we're supposed to approve it.
Give me a permit too.
Yeah, see, there you go. And, but somehow we caught it.
I was coming to work one day and look, that lot is clear and I think, I'll bet they're gonna build on that lot and I know I don't have a road bond there.
But the county recognized that they screwed up and then sent a letter to the builder. The builder's building for an owner, you know, it's a contractor, right? Owner has the lot and they're having this guy develop and build it. And evidently he's got a good reputation from what I've heard. Anyway, so they sent a letter and said, hey, you're never gonna get an occupancy permit if you don't get Drum Point to sign off on this. So everybody went, and they called Rhea, and of course that led to having to meet with them and go over everything, which is not rocket science. It's, you don't break up the asphalt on the road and you're gonna be fine. And oh, by the way, you need to do something about drainage, because between your property line and the road where you put the driveway in, you're gonna have to do something. We went through all that. Anyway, but this water accretion at this property on Mills Creek, I had noticed we had a lot of rain. 2 weeks ago maybe? It was a lot of rain, and I happened to be going to Peter's house, and as I rode by, that intersection with Cove and Mills Creek was totally flooded. And the property that in question had water in front of it as well, and I thought to myself, well, that doesn't look good. And then wiped it out of my mind. And she came in to pay her HOA fees and complained about it. So I went and started really taking a close look at it. And what I found when I took a close look was, yeah, it's really flat along there, and the water does stand, but it dissipates within 48 hours, which is one of our rules about, is it a problem or not? How fast does it disappear? But the lay of the land, the house and the property is higher than the road. So I had a hard time figuring out how the road, the complaint was, since you paved the road, we have more water. And the road's only 1.5 inches higher. So, yeah, okay, maybe 1.5 inches worth, and I'm sure that did contribute some. But the lay of the land is the lot's higher than the road, so how's that work? I'm sure it has some effect, but not enough for us to try to take on some big stormwater management project to try to alleviate it. So that was the response.
Well, you know, there's the house down here on the lake. I don't know what that before Laurel, there's another little cutoff road.
Yeah.
Dogwood.
No,
No, going,
Part of Dogwood.
well, going this way, you have, in that Laurel, that's that.
Laurel.
Dogwood,
And then Dogwood back also.
Oh, Dogwood's the one
Is the
that's.
next one.
Well, that,
The
well, you
continues
got
on
Blue Jay
past
and
Laurel.
That,
Pine or whatever.
No, off Lake.
that lot there, that floods. They have a little pool.
Oh, I think you're.
Yeah, there's a lot of properties like that. We
You know,
have
I mean, it's-
places all over Drum Point. It's really kind of weird. Some places like on Coward is you know, those hills and everything drains too much. It's a problem to control the water because it's so steep. And then we have really flat areas with a lot of clay underneath, so it doesn't absorb quickly.
Yeah.
We're all over the board, so.
I was surprised where, Berita and Raspberry Hall meet, that one time when we had a lot of rain, it was flooded there. I mean, they put up a sign,
You know why?
What's there a lot?
yeah,
It's
why?
because the state doesn't keep that stupid drainage ditch
Yeah,
clean.
is that why? Because I could see the water overflowing, but I wasn't sure why.
We've been after the state. In fact, we had a problem down, we're spinning out of control, but this is fun. So at Riverview, down here, right here, at this intersection, Reservoir and Riverview, this whole area used to flood really badly. Right in here, I mean, really, it was a problem. We were doing all sorts of, then we
We
spent
spend money on
thousands of,
engineering before
hundreds,
Jeff
not
came
ten,
to-
tens of thousands of dollars,
Mhm.
having engineers look at it and all sorts of
Just
things.
to tell us there's
This
nothing
is
that
right
can
as
be
I
done.
was coming on the board. This is before we had our own engineer. We were paying an engineering company to come in and drill and do all these soil things and all. You know what the problem was? This drainage ditch down here was clogged.
Mhm.
So the water couldn't drain away down towards, into the river.
So it's
Didn't
back
Jeff
in there.
contact his contacts
Jeff,
at State
We
Highway?
brought Jeff on and he went and looked at it and says, duh.
Yeah, so I think then we spent just $1,000 doing something else right there on Riverview, but it
We
was
did.
minor,
It was a very minor thing.
and that was it. Hey, Jeff.
And we spent probably almost $20,000 in having all of these studies done to what would we do to fix it. Jeff has made his money for sure.
He's the
Saved
second
us a
best
bunch of
hire
money.
this organization's ever.
I was the first? Oh, wait a minute, I didn't get it. Okay, so that's all I've got. There's been other things, but I don't want to bore you with all of it. I've been pretty busy the last few weeks, actually. No public unless, Peter, you have anything you want to talk about? Okay, approval of minutes? Have a motion?
I move that we approve minutes.
Second. All those in favor? All right, minutes are approved. It's all yours.
I remember to have to do a quarterly report today, this reimbursement of special tax district funds for the past quarter. I say I remembered it because I haven't had to submit one since probably the second quarter, because we haven't had any operating expenses. The only thing there's been no snow removal, and so on. And the only thing that's on this one is the audit, the cost of the audit, because the special tax district pays for the audit. So that's that. But it's easy to forget when you're not really looking for the money, because you haven't spent the money. The beach cleanup was delayed for a little while because of the storm on the 8th. And, but he got started with that on the 3rd, and he was in there today. It's finished. I haven't gone down to see how it looks.
I went down one time and I could see he was working on it. It
Yeah.
was like the sand was leveling out. I
Right.
could see the tracks of the tires and stuff.
Exactly,
Yeah,
so he finished it today, so I'll drive by tomorrow or whoever can take a look at it.
yeah, it looked better.
You mentioned the road bond, and I will be posting FY20's assessments in the next week or so. So looking at the CPI calculator, the covenant fee should increase to $106.35
Keeps going up to the,
from 104. So if that's, I don't know if we need a motion for that to happen or
well, I think based on
passed.
the approval by the general membership, that it's automatic. It's a general membership thing, and it was
Right.
approved.
Okay, so that's all I have.
Okay. Why don't we just go around the table then, and anything?
Start with the environment. I
Sure.
haven't really done anything lately about this, but I'll call Robin Monikisen, unless you've heard from her, Rita, to find out what our next step is. I know we've gotten approval now to mow down the dead Phragmites. And I had, last time I spoke to Mark Smith, he said definitely do not dig it up, but just cut it at that level, because digging it up apparently causes some of the seeds that might be underground to sprout. So we can find out how much that's gonna cost, but I don't think we have to do anything more for that. And then my understanding is we have 2 years, we don't have to plant anything for 2 years to see what comes up.
Right.
But what I wanna do with Robin is find out what the state would be willing to give us, and I know they would, if they agree to do this, it would be planted in the fall, and we have to figure out what we can
Right.
get, what we want. And I don't want us to do something that would cause another high maintenance problem, so I mean, whatever, maybe we just wanna wait 2 years and see what comes back. I know, Jack, you had wanted there, not only to mow them down, but to have things be made a little bit more, attractive for the community in the public spaces, so we can see what kinds of things, even if we had to pay out of pocket, would look nice, have a nice kind of clean look and not be something that's gonna spread and cause problems.
Sounds good.
Okay,
You're talking about along the beach?
yeah, that Long Beach
Along
and
the causeway.
most of the causeway, but then there's that other part along Surf. I don't know that we have to do anything but mow that down or just cut it down and see what comes back, cause it's not like it's.
So I'm wondering if after 3 years, after it's dead,
Mhm.
would the seeds be dormant still and if you did something with?
Well, that's a good question, I don't know.
So maybe there's some time period where you could come back and dig it all up and
Well, it could be, but we'll
And
yeah.
plant
Yeah,
ivy.
oh yeah, well, I love ivy, but that'd be a big no-no, but.
I was gonna say.
I'm just saying.
But I do love it.
Robin would be able to
Virginia
advise you
creeper,
what kind of-
Yeah, she would be able to say,
Oh,
would go
don't
down.
even mention
But, we just want it to be attractive, but not make it to a big production. And then I'd also suggest our permit runs through 2021, who's ever sitting around this table at the time, I suggest that we renew it for another 5 years, because it won't cost us anything, and we don't, we just might wanna keep renewing it, because it's such a
Put that on
pain.
your tickler file. To.
Yeah, just, some 2020, because I don't know what time of year it comes due, but I
it. You
forget.
talk about the Phragmite removal, or the treatment?
The Phragmites, no, the Phragmites permit itself, to keep on treating it, yeah.
Okay.
And it shouldn't cost us very much at that point, if we keep on it, it's just gonna be
The
minuscule.
permits isn't the cost. The
I know, I
cost
mean,
is
I'm
the
talking
treatment.
about the treatment, because if we keep, treating that little extra that keeps coming up, I think it's not gonna be very much.
It was under 300 feet.
See, so that's nothing really, when you think about it, it's
Not for the benefit.
What
No,
year does it expire?
2021. So we have a couple more years, but, and then if we wanna go ahead and then keep that permit to mow it down every time, we might as well do both of those things.
Those are good for 2 years.
Good, oh, good,
The
okay.
vegetation removal permit.
Okay, well, we might not have that much, but that's all I've got.
Jack?
Everything looks pretty good in the budget. I only had a quick look at it this evening, but everything is. on
Halfway
track,
through the
a little
year,
bit
right?
ahead.
Mhm.
So, I don't see any line items, study more carefully later, but they all look quite good. And one other finance issue is, I guess the finance committee, we have to worry about that in March,
Right.
is that right? They're starting
It has to be
names and.
You actually should February, isn't
February, probably
Okay.
should start getting it together, so it can be, it's not presented
it?
until.
First meeting in March.
So who knows on the finance committee, I think I was, and I'm at the
Mike
continue,
Snap.
and,
I was.
Alyssa, I think, and you, okay, so then,
Are you willing to,
And
Yeah.
Alyssa.
yeah, Alyssa, and, yeah, I think it was just the three of us, so, yeah.
are you willing to again?
Sure.
Yeah,
All right, we'll
It
try.
was so much fun last time.
Well, I mean, it was
It was
an
very,
easy process.
yeah, pretty easy,
yeah.
I was surprised.
Good.
Not like some of the ones I was in on, I guess. Wow.
And one other thing, if this can be sort of a roundtable discussion too, Dawn Stanton asked me about the nominating committee.
Ah, yeah.
And she's been just under the weather she's got a lot of family issues. And so she was wondering what to do, and I know we're okay, at least we have 3 people for our 3 vacancies, right? And
But
we have
we have to-
4 vacancies in it.
Oh, we have four, oh,
John?
1 irregular, 3
right,
regular.
yeah.
So, I'm not sure what Dawn's gonna be able to do in the near future.
Peter had a suggestion when I ran into him in the grocery store today.
Okay.
Guy over on.
Richard Hackett, who lives over on Harbor Drive. Joe Frost, John Wagner, those are some of the people who live along there, sort of across the creek from, not across the creek, across Ross's Cove from me.
Right.
And Troy Karnaki lives
Like
there.
Harbor Drive.
Harbor Drive, is that, what did I say?
You did, you did say
Who was
that.
it?
I'm sure you did.
Yeah, you sure?
I wasn't listening.
Anyway, I'll call Richard. He's a sailor, has a boat there, but he lives off the water, across the road. Very nice guy, he's been around a long time. So I'll ask him. Did you have a fourth person you were saying?
Yeah, we talked about the people I had and
Yeah,
they got ruled out for various reasons.
oh, okay. You know, I haven't had the committee meet. When are the nominations required to be reported?
March meeting.
The March
Presented
meeting.
At the March meeting.
And at that point, it becomes a race if we have too many, right? And if we have too little, we will survive. We just say we have another vacancy, in which case we go to the meeting in March and somebody may nominate themselves from the floor, which is perfectly legitimate and good. In the meantime, we can keep, beating the grass and seeing if we can come up with somebody. It would be preferable if the nominating committee could come up and provide a slate that we recommend. That doesn't mean we still won't have 5 candidates, 6 candidates. But if any of you can think of anybody, any neighbors or any people, it's easy to overlook people, you know, who don't necessarily have a high profile, but if asked, you know, they'd say, well, yeah, I'll be. Some of them should be willing really to become active though, not just fill the seat. We've had a couple in the past who basically just, oh, I'll do it, but came to about half the meetings and didn't undertake any of the responsibilities.
Or worse would say, I'll do that and never do it.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
you know, we'll just, I mean, it's on the nominating committee, I don't know if you wanna cover that right now, but, that's the way it is right now, but I will call a meeting. If, we might need another nominating committee member, is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure where that stands.
Does it have to be 3
She
people?
can call in.
Yeah.
All you need is, she doesn't have to really do anything except participate in the meetings, and that could be on a call-in basis.
And I think Dawn's concern was more about going around and asking
Oh,
people,
oh,
We
sure.
got
you know,
Who needs-
and not,
Yeah,
and not really knowing who these people.
Tell her we're all doing that.
yeah.
She doesn't really need to do that.
Right.
Yeah, Rita, you emailed everybody the instructions and everything.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I know you did. I'd like to get a hard copy. I should have printed it out, but I
Of
didn't.
the contact list?
Well, you have a copy here in the office, don't you?
Not printed out, but I'll print one for
Okay.
tomorrow.
And the letter of instructions?
I can put that for you.
Because I have an old one that's about 10 years old.
Hasn't really changed much, other than the people who are leaving, and that changes from year to year.
And sometimes new people are the ones who want to become interested.
Oh, I thought you meant the letter of instruction.
Oh, the letter of instructions I'd like to see.
Okay.
If it hasn't changed, then I'd
That's,
still like
about
to.
4 years old,
I think it's important to look at
So
it.
are you suggesting that maybe some of the new people in the community would be the ones? So
That's-
you've got the bucket list of people that have gotten.
You have the new list of
No,
arrivals.
I think,
Oh, that's
Cindy
right here,
does.
the new people are right here.
yeah.
Well, no, excuse me, these are the businesses.
Well, some, you know,
But I have the list of new
some
people.
live like
yes, I
Ginny
do.
and I forget
Well, I
the last
would-
name.
I'd be happy to call them. I mean, I'd go over the, you might have met every one of them, or you.
A
Well,
lot
there's
of
one
them.
lady, because one lady, at one time I subbed for Cindy because she wasn't able to do it, and her name is Ginny, Ginny and Nancy, two
The two
sisters,
sisters?
that have 2 different houses.
Sure. Well,
They,
Oh, yeah.
Ginny
That
seemed
might
very
be a
interested, I
possibility.
think, I would
Sure.
call her,
I'd be
I
happy
would
to
call
call
her.
them.
because she seemed very, that kind of
Okay.
person that would be glad to be part of this.
okay. That is a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, new people
Mhm.
often want to
Mhm.
come here. The lady who has bought this house that you're talking about, she's new. The one that's flooding in the Ross's house.
Oh, she's not new.
She doesn't
The one
live
that'd
here.
be more incentivized to come.
Huh? I'm sorry?
I thought you meant the person that Gary was talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think she's new.
okay.
Robinson is her name, Katie Robinson.
What's her name?
Robinson.
Robinson. Okay, I think I've spoken to her once, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, let's,
I'll print out both spreadsheets for you.
yeah, let me go
You
over
can
the
see.
list with you of the new arrivals too.
Yeah.
But Star Ginny, 'cause
Yeah.
I think she seemed to be very interested.
There's a
Do you
third
know her?
sister that will be moving.
Yeah, well, I told her to welcome, I mean, I don't know her well, but, yeah, I'd be glad to call her.
Would you call her?
Sure, if I
Because
could
I
get her
think
phone number.
Yeah.
rather than being
Sure.
somebody who
Yeah,
she's
some-
never
yeah,
even heard of,
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
be
You
better.
want- I'd be glad to call her.
Email her number to you?
Yeah,
That would be great.
Okay.
She's
And then
fun.
And-
What's her first, Jenny?
Jenny, I think, is it Jenny Rice or?
I think it is Rice.
Okay, and this is kind of, my mind doesn't work anymore, so I'm just kind of coming up with something that's percolating.
Whereabouts does she live?
Dear Court.
Deer Court. She bought
Okay.
Alice Hall's house.
Oh, that's
John
down by June and John's place.
John Hall?
The old place, yeah.
Not Deer Drive.
Not Deer Drive, Deer
Not Deer
Court.
Not Deer Lane.
Deer
Drive,
This
and
is-
Oh,
there's
and
Deer
then there's
Court.
Deer Court.
Did
Oh,
you
Deer
know
Court,
John?
on the water.
Did
Did you know John and Alice
Yeah.
Hall? Did you know John Hall? John and Alice
Yes,
Hall?
yes.
She bought their house.
Oh.
Deer Court.
Deer Court. Yeah,
Way
and it
down
was,
there.
I had
It's a
never
beautiful house.
known that was even
It's
there.
right
It
off
was kind of a
Gee, I'd
neat
love to
area.
have somebody
It's
come
a neat
from there.
area. Yeah, it's a neat area.
We rarely get any nominees from there
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they're
it's
usually,
been years
Well,
and
she was
years.
very enthusiastic,
Been a long
and I
time.
really enjoyed that, and I'm just dropping the stuff off when we, talked, and she just seemed like, and
What
she
time
came to the general membership meeting,
She
which
did.
is always a good sign.
She did, yeah.
and after a long discussion, you can tell that we're all in favor of it. Which wouldn't be anything but the truth.
Yeah, that would, yeah, she was.
That would be great.
Just give
And
me.
then John Salusi can accuse us of being an old bunch of male
I know.
cabal here. It'd be
Well,
nice
we've
to
heard
have,
that before too.
yeah.
We have.
And we're
Actually have
outnumbered
been-
tonight, so.
We've actually
Yeah,
been
that's
told
how
to
you
come
guys
along.
are outnumbered tonight. And they were trying to get younger people, and Ash is probably the youngest one, but I mean, like Alyssa, I think somebody, they're just too busy with
They're
their
busy.
families and stuff. And
Yeah,
then when you want to
exactly.
get
It's harder,
younger
because
people
you have to get a
Yeah.
babysitter.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking of Crystal, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
There's a family that just built the house in Overview next to the Drum Point Club fence on the
Oh,
left-hand side.
Um,
We know them, I think, or I should know
It's
them.
not
Karen and Tim?
Hanson.
Yeah, Hanson, not
Yeah,
Wilson.
yeah.
That was so.
Do you think they might be interested at all?
Yeah.
Do you
Always
know them?
ask. Yeah, I know them, they come to my exercise class, so,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
I know,
Tim is gonna be on the board for the
for the drum
for
point.
the club.
Okay, so he'll be
And
busy.
Karen is on the nominating committee for the Drum Point Club.
Well, let's see if we can get
Well,
Jenny
that was
Rice. If
last
we can get Jenny
Friday.
Rice, if she would, then we'd have at least four.
Well, maybe you
We
could
can
serve
keep-
on both. I
we
mean,
can-
it's- Really?
Well, I mean, it does happen.
Mhm.
Well, we'd have to make sure the meetings,
Right.
I gotta say.
That's the problem, they're always, well, not always, but usually on the
Sometimes they
same
don't.
night,
On the same night.
There's been
same
many
time,
times.
or similar time, yeah, not exactly the same,
It's
but.
funny, by just talking about it, we tend to come up with some people because you always draw a blank and then
Mhm.
when you really explore.
Right, and Karen and Tim are very nice,
Mhm.
very
that's
Mhm.
why they came up.
Yeah.
It's just good. We talked about them before and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
then it
Yeah,
left
there
our
are
mind.
people that really
Yeah.
seem
I
to be
think-
constructive and wanna.
Who's in the
And he's
house?
obviously involved in the club, so he is civic minded. so-
Mhm.
Now, Chris's people, who lived in Chris's house, they,
I don't know who they are. I mean, I haven't touched base with them.
we haven't touched base with
Oh,
them.
somebody's
Just
moved in?
Boylston.
Yeah, really? I didn't know that.
Like just within the past 6 weeks, I'd say 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Well, if they're retired or,
Did they buy it or are they renting it?
It's
No.
been purchased.
It-
They bought it.
Well, good. I'm glad that they were able to sell it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
'cause I thought they-
they
They're
stepped
never
in,
coming back, right?
they'd come by, Rhea, they stopped in?
I'd have to look and see if the
Okay.
person that stopped in is that particular, I
Okay.
don't know. It's, you know, a lot of people have, and I can't say exactly.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up a lot more time, but that'd be great.
Well, this is important stuff, I mean, if we
Yeah,
can
but
find
Yeah.
a fourth person
So
to,
I'll wait till I hear
Okay,
from
yeah,
you.
okay, I'll,
And keep us posted.
yes, absolutely,
And
yeah.
if she is interested, tell her if she wants to think about it,
Yeah, sure.
we can
I
talk.
mean, she can talk to any of us.
She could sit in on a meeting.
Sure,
maybe,
that's
and
true.
see.
She can come maybe the February meeting.
We'll serve wine.
everybody's welcome to come to the meetings.
Got a bottle left in the fridge.
I'm kind of distressed that people don't come to these meetings, yeah, it's kind of sad.
It's,
Well,
you know, if
It's sad that they
there's
don't come to the
nothing,
general meeting. That's, yeah, it's kind of
if
the same
there's
thing.
nothing
You're
that's
Same
doing
question.
something
going
right,
on,
I guess.
people won't show up, and
That's exactly that.
that's a good thing.
It's all smooth.
It
So
means
Pete-
things are going well.
Are you going to call a meeting of the nominating committee then? And I'll just tell Dawn that,
You
she
do it on
can
the phone?
participate.
Yeah, just.
It's convenient.
As soon as you
Okay, I'll
tell me,
call Ginny and see what, you know, if I
because
can
it
get her.
will change the discussion a lot.
That would be, yeah,
Look for
because then we'd have
invitation.
4 people and then
Good.
you'd only have to be concerned if more people started nominating themselves and then you have to send out the ballot and all of that, but it would be nice if you could just,
We could, in a way, stop looking then, but we would have a meeting to formally approve it and
yes.
then
You have
we
to have a
would
meeting
have
for that at least,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to have a meeting, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
you have anything?
No.
Great. Well, I'm out of things to talk about. Old business is the top lot.
Oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
the welcoming committee,
Who's here to talk about
I'm gonna talk about
it? Okay, go ahead. Because I skipped
it. I
right
have a
past you, didn't
spreadsheet
I?
and everything.
I'm gonna agree with what she said.
Oh, okay, good, that's one of those. Cindy stopped by Friday,
Thank you.
well, let me say this first, last month, Asha and Jim put together 4 more buckets, and, I distributed one, and somebody else came in to get theirs, and we received a couple of feedback letters, lots of positive communication. And,
Is this, this is another
Yeah.
one?
and then, Cindy came in, oh, you just folded yours, okay.
Yeah, I'm having too much.
Okay, so yeah, Cindy came in on Friday and we talked about kind of a new approach. Some of the business participants have received no feedback. The flower shop in Solomon's, to her knowledge, nobody's ever come in to use the coupon. The seafood place, Captain Smith's, I went in there a couple of weeks ago to pick up more cards, business cards, to put on the little coupon that I created. The employees had no idea what I was talking about, didn't know there was a coupon out there. And as far as we know, they've had no feedback either, or use of that coupon.
Do you know
So-
if these coupons have an expiration date?
They don't, I make them, there's no expiration.
Okay, so I mean, that sometimes that gets people,
Well, that's true, that's a thought, that's a thought. But in any case, Cindy will go back to some of these businesses and ask if they want to continue to participate. Especially some of them that were providing, you know, actual products.
Yeah, like the hair salon.
The hair
Yeah.
salon and so on, so she actually, Julia came up with a coupon instead, a discount coupon, so then she's not
that's
out.
probably better, yeah.
I mean, overall, it's going very well, you know, it is, but you kind of, if the business isn't getting anything from it, it's a little hard to go in there and ask them for more product. So there's that.
But it never costs them much, anything if it's a coupon.
Well, exactly,
either
but
redeem
the
it or
problem with the coupons is and then you've reduced the bulk in the bucket.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's one reason we still do a roll of paper towel, because
Yeah.
it's nice and big and it
Yeah,
takes up
yeah.
some room. And then, of course, all the brochures they arrange and so on, and that bottle of wine, I mean, that's really nice. But if you had all coupons, you know, you may as well put it in a folder and hand it out instead of having the nice bucket. So Cindy was thinking, if we could sort of, in this next month before February's meeting, think of some ideas that maybe we could be willing to spend money on to help supplement some of the things in the bucket. She kind of thought something like chocolates or chips and salsa, something like that, just to put something in there and kind of fill it up to give it bulk, make it look nice. I was at Giant today and I just real quickly looked at some prices. if we were to do those things in particular, along with the paper towels and so on that we've been doing, it'd be between $12 to $15 per bucket. That's not considering, gee, if I go to Walmart, maybe I can, you know,
Cheaper.
save a buck and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. So there's that. But she is going to go back out to some of these businesses, and that spreadsheet has the ones that are active and the ones that are pending. Either they've been doing it, we don't know if they want to continue, or there's some new suggestions on there. So that's what that's for. So she's looking for suggestions. Some of the businesses have been really enthusiastic. The bank has been great. The liquor store, Ace Hardware, and so on.
Does the liquor store get any business that they know of, or?
That's, I
Did you
don't know,
put the
that's what
one-
she wants.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
there's a little card on there.
Okay,
yeah,
you know,
there's a
you
card
want
on
one.
there.
But would somebody go in and say, well, I have the, is it a coupon code?
No.
So they
No.
wouldn't necessarily know
Right.
if that
If
person,
it's-
it wouldn't have, that wouldn't
Generate
generate
business,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Exactly,
so, I mean,
exactly.
maybe there's something else you could put in there that would, I don't know.
Well, then you go back to the, maybe a little certificate on the wine that says another 10% off if you mention Drum Point, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, something, yeah.
I don't know. So that's what, if you guys can maybe think of some things over the course of the next month and then revisit it in February.
Also, like the Calvin Marine Museum is closed for 2 months, right? So.
I don't know.
Yeah, they
So
are.
they're
They're
renovating.
renovating.
Remodeling or something?
Yeah, they're adding more
Well,
classrooms and things, so.
Okay, well,
So no
that's,
one can go there for the next 2 months. I
right,
don't think.
right.
Yeah, but the coupon, what we put in there is, it's usually kind of dated anyway.
More
isn't it?
brochures and stuff than actually discount coupon event.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 'cause-
And the visitor center's only open on Saturday and Sundays this time of
Right.
year too, so it's a little hard. I gotta remember to go on weekend, I tend to forget. So I need to do that. And also with regard to distribution, rather than the first distribution being by her or by one of you guys or even me, she's thinking it might be better for people to come in here so that they can
Meet you.
make,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
touch base with me. And then if they can't get here, obviously one of us would deliver it,
Yeah.
Cindy or you guys or I would or whatever. But that might be good too, so they can
Sure.
actually find out where this
Where this
is,
is, yes.
get their hang tags, get a welcome folder
Mhm.
with,
Yeah, if you
bylaws
have any,
and
if
so
you have any questions,
How
do you
right
inform them?
there, yeah.
well, and that was the whole, it would be the same way.
I think,
I
yeah.
think, you know, the phone call or,
Maybe doing both. I mean, I think the personal touch of going to the home is really nice.
it is,
And I enjoyed actually doing it. I think Jenny enjoyed having somebody
Right.
come. But then have something in there that would require them to come in to
right.
redeem something. I don't
Well,
know.
they have to come in to get their hang tag for parking,
Okay, at the beach, is that
at
the
the
only
beach
place?
or the boat ramp or
Oh,
wherever,
okay,
yeah.
okay. But if you don't care about that stuff.
Well, this is true as well. What I do is send out, if we don't have any phone number or email that we can use off the get-go, I have a letter, just a little form letter. Here we are, please come in, we have a little gift for you. And I enclose a map and just a brief outline of what the fees are and just real summary of Drum Point. And we've gotten some more response with that. I think with people visiting, I think it's great, but maybe for some, if
Yeah,
you've just
yeah,
moved in and
yeah.
you're surrounded by boxes,
Yeah.
and 5-year-olds
yeah,
that have to
yeah,
get to
yeah,
kindergarten,
true, true.
maybe you don't want anybody.
Maybe you don't, maybe you don't, yeah.
Just yet,
Yeah,
and then you forget about it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then if you get the bucket, it might be pushed to the
Oh,
side, and
yeah.
who
Right.
knows
Uh-huh.
when you're actually gonna
Right.
look at
Right.
it, and,
Yes.
Exactly. So I think it should continue to be a combination of how we do it, but just with regard to what goes into that bucket and how to get people to participate or to see if they still want to participate. But anyway, that was basically it. Cindy said she'd continue to be the point of contact with the businesses and go in and ask for contributions and so on. So, but any ideas that you might have?
yeah, but it, you know, it's a shame that, you know, these people are not getting any new customers
Yeah.
or,
It is.
you
But
know,
there might
people
be-
taking
There might
advantage
be
of the.
if it's like the wine store, if they don't,
They just don't.
Right.
if they just don't
They just
say,
don't
oh,
know.
by the way,
Right.
I'm new to Drum Point.
Right.
If they don't say that, they're not gonna know.
Right.
I thought maybe if people discontinue contributing like a bottle of wine or something, we could do instead like just a list of local businesses to put in there.
Yeah.
Um, They might get just as much from that. Oh, look, Mike's Liquor Store, or whatever it's called. The Texas wines.
Well, I think Cindy's made up for a lot of people that haven't gone to the wine store.
She keeps them in business.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't drink any of that.
She's a regular there, so I mean, it's like, who needs a welcome bucket?
Well, maybe, so he contributes a bottle of wine, but maybe,
Yeah,
maybe if there was a coupon that wouldn't be a lot off, but like, just like 5%.
Just some-
But you know what,
people
some,
come
I mean,
back.
I have a lot of coupons in my house.
Yeah,
and
never used, yeah.
I know, I sometimes go to the stores and I just
Forget
forget
it,
to
yeah,
use
'cause
the
they
coupon.
don't have-
But seeing the name actually helps,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
oh yeah, this must
Right.
be a good place, they gave me a coupon,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know, but
yeah.
I don't always remember
Right,
to bring my
that's true, that's true.
coupons, so,
Yeah, if you're not
You know.
pinching pennies.
yeah.
So, and I think too, one of the reasons we started this wasn't just so much to, it was to welcome people
Mhm.
and to help maybe direct them to local businesses, but it was also an effort to get accurate contact information. Because some people have rental properties, and some people have a PO box,
Yeah.
they don't have a, street box
Here's
and
an
so
idea
on.
that
So
might be horrible.
we need to
though.
keep
I'll
it
just-
up.
I'll just say it anyhow. But, I mean, because I don't want to add anybody's junk mail, but I mean, if some of these vendors might want to send other promotional things to these people, but then there's privacy issues, I realize that. I mean, maybe if they had if you had an email for these people, maybe Mike's liquor store.
No, you can't share that.
No,
But-
I don't
but-
share email.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-mm. No. So,
Okay,
so that's basically it.
I skipped over safety committee too, do you have anything?
Well, one thing that's still on my mind, I wanna be sure that the board is aware that the club down there still has the intent of putting that gate across there to close off that fence. And that may impact, I mean, the club has been very good about putting up that new gate. And it is keeping a lot of people out, and the incidents down there are way down. And I just wanna be aware that while we work together with the club, that you and Ralph be sure, because sooner or later, we're gonna move that gate and close that entryway into that piece of property which is north of that
Which
creek.
area are you talking about?
The wooded area?
Well, there's a, yes, if you go to the DPWA beach,
Uh-huh, yeah.
on the far right-hand side,
Okay,
there's a
there's-
wooded lot
where you
that
could go through
belongs
there.
to the
Yeah.
Drum Point Club.
Yeah, we walked through
So-
there,
And
yeah.
that is area that, it often, when school lets out, the kids have beer parties and
Yeah,
have forest, little fires, and a lot goes on there. It's a very easy way to get into the,
Yeah. So
club.
what are the plans for putting up a fence?
Well, there is a fence that exists except for that one entrance, and we have a big galvanized wire gate which will spread that area. It used to be closed off completely about 12, 15 years ago. And then I think there was a fire or something, the fire truck drove through it.
That would be the long way around, going through the beach.
No, you can't get to the water, there's water everywhere else.
You can't get through from the Drum Point side even though, I mean, my hope,
Yeah,
So how can they close it off?
Drum
Like,
Yeah, how
it's
can
a
you
Drum Point
safety
Lake drains out,
issue.
so what puts it off?
because we'll put a chain
So
on
Drains
how
out.
do we
the fire
fund it?
truck.
Where's our beach?
Open.
Where's our beach?
Easily,
Right-
Okay,
right here.
They have
So,
cutters with them.
and this is the
Yeah.
area that
So
would
we'll
be.
put up a,
Okay, yeah.
But
trade-
they
trade
also-
gear with it.
So
They also
why not
have
just
a,
block it off completely, or
there's
just like the, oh,
a
because
lock
it is.
box
Yeah.
that's on the
So
main
they can
gate
come over on this side?
that they
of the
have
gate?
an access
I'm not-
to.
No,
I'm
they
not
would have to
saying
open
they
the gate to get in.
They can
They
open the
couldn't, they
gate.
had to tear the fence down because
Right.
From here.
the
They've
fire
got a
was in that
special-
piece of land.
And,
Okay.
and
That's
I
land,
think you'd be
it's
able to do
water
the same
lock,
thing.
we
except
can
for
put a
the
lock
beach.
box, but
Oh,
I
that's
just
everybody
assume
can
that
come on
they
beach, okay.
break
I
the
didn't
chain
realize
and we'll
that.
buy a new chain.
No.
I mean, the chain, I mean, how many fires are you gonna have down there?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, especially if it's
Hopefully
blocked
no
off.
more.
So,
None.
Well, I know,
Let's hope
I
not.
hope none. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I noticed right there, because we walk the dogs through there and go through the woods, but I noticed on the beach right there, between Community Beach and the Drum Point Club, there are about 20 to 30 trees that came down, that beach area is really eroded, like the water levels are high, and so there's not as much
Uh-huh.
property there.
Yeah, yeah.
And the trees, like some people I heard complaining, oh, the trees are down, are you guys gonna do anything about
mm-mm.
cleaning up the trees? But the problem is if you pick up the trees, then you lose even more land. Yeah, you need the trees there to keep the soil in place.
Mhm.
Are you saying that just south of our beach, the DPWA beach, there's not much beach there? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
right, where you walk through the woods,
Right.
so on the Drum Point Club side,
You know,
there are like 20 to 30 trees that have fallen right through there, like into the water, because the water
Yeah,
levels are
Yes,
are
yes,
high,
yeah,
Don't do that.
yeah.
yeah, well, that's good, probably.
Serves a couple purposes.
I was just
Security
surprised that we
and
lost that much beach.
keeps the beach
That's
from
happening
eroding.
all the way down to the end of Drum
Right,
Point.
and then,
It's
the water
happening
levels
all
are
the-
higher, yeah,
And we get one or two big storms and they'll take out 10 or 15
yeah.
feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this time of year, it's always more
Yeah.
water though.
But does
Yeah.
it come, does it, the beach report?
It can, because the trees are down, so you lose that,
No, you lose that, that's an effectively lost beach.
It's been eroding for
If you-
years
if
and
you-
years.
If you get a good storm, that whole area in the
Right.
back of the clubhouse, that
Right.
floods.
right.
Mhm.
But I've noticed it more this year than I have the last,
Been the wettest year since
Yeah.
18,
Oh, it had,
what
yeah,
was it?
97 or
50-something?
1887 or 97, it's
It was a
really,
long time ago.
yeah.
it's alarming.
Yeah, that piece of property is, it's a piece of nature, it's not used for anything else except beer parties or access to the rest of the beach, which is a lot nicer. It's about, I would
We
say,
like walking through there.
about 2 acres.
It's nice walking.
Yeah, well, I know it's gonna offend people like you.
Well, it's not offending me. I mean, I like walking through there. It doesn't offend me. I'm just kind of alarmed that we're losing so much beach.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
okay.
I'm not alarmed by it. I've heard other people
there will be
say,
people who will complain.
who are complaining about the trees down and it's hard to get on the beach, you know, whatever, but,
Do they realize that the community beach is the community beach and the club beach is separate?
yeah, so
These
I,
people?
yeah. I
Is there any
reminded
signage
that.
up that says that?
There used to be, I think.
There is a big sign, I put it
Yeah.
up. It's-
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
private
Okay,
property.
oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, I'm
I'm
not,
working on behalf.
yeah, I'm
of
not,
it.
Peter, I'm not the one complaining. I've just heard
Yeah.
other people complain about it.
Yeah, we put that up with this.
Let me point out that that land all along here has been disappearing for a
Oh,
long
really?
time.
Oh,
In fact, these lots don't even exist anymore.
oh, wow.
They used to be
Yeah.
there, so.
Was there no jetties or anything like that that help
Mm-mm.
maintain that?
No.
I mean, the
Not in
only
there, there's some further up.
beneficial thing that might come out of this is that if we put that gate up, or when it goes up, that maybe it'll spur people to join the Drum Point Club.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Because it'll make access a little more difficult, to say the least. But, you know, it's not gonna make anybody who uses it today happy necessarily, because they like to get down. And once they're on the beach, they're perfectly legal, you know. So, I don't know, Jenny, maybe you have some ideas. You've been on Ralph's discussions on this, and I've been following it for so long that
Yeah,
I lost a perspective.
my thing is that, it is the club's property. And people shouldn't be going through there because it's supposed to be for members only. And members are paying big bucks to be members and to use that, and not to have everybody in the community come through there and use, the beach. I have no problem of them going out in the water and going around, because there are trees that are down,
There are a lot
kind
of
of,
trees
and
down
walk-
right now.
go around
Yeah.
and then go on the beach, because the beach is not ours. Yeah.
Okay.
But then there are problems where people come around and then they come up on the property
Yeah,
and they have beer parties.
yeah, yeah.
Or
And,
sometimes they come by boat. I saw this one guy come up on his speedboat and he got off with his German Shepherd, and the German Shepherd pooped right there, and but he was like up into like the Drum Point Club
Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
property, like up by the trees and everything.
Uh-huh. Oh.
And then he was there for about an hour, and then he got back on the speedboat and he took off. And I was like, oh, that's lovely. You didn't pick up after your dog or anything. You know?
What's the woods, why would you pick it up?
yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there have been incidents where,
Yeah.
Mary Ann has had to call the police
Huh.
to have these people removed because, and, well, my understanding is they were told by hotels around here that you could go down there and use that beach.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's
Oh,
interesting.
oh,
Good
oh,
Good
wow.
Well, there's a
But
gate there.
they may have said the Drum Point Association Beach, which they really shouldn't
We shouldn't be using that either.
They're all private
Yeah.
beaches.
But,
Right, well, and they may also have said,
Property.
but you have to stay below the mean high water mark, and then you're on state property, and who's gonna
Well,
listen to that?
I mean, why,
People don't listen.
you know.
Well, I just wanna foster good relations between these two
Yeah,
associations.
yeah.
And when we put up a fence,
Well,
there's
cut it
gonna
out.
be a little friction
I
there.
think you gotta just do it.
But the benefit will be to perhaps spur new membership.
Mhm.
We have, what, about 150 members now?
Yeah, paying members, 142.
Yeah, but we have,
There was 100, there's like 154.
but we need about 160 really
Yeah.
to make it work, so.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
Actually, if you put up the fence, I'll make you a bet there's gonna be a lot more people at the general meeting or the meetings here.
But you're right, and they will be complaining. Is that what you
Well,
mean?
Probably.
The phone will be ringing.
well, we should hand them a brochure, how to join the Dog Point
Yeah,
Club.
well, I mean, they
And
have no
it's
right
called
to
private
complain.
property for a
They
reason.
don't have any right to complain, and maybe they're just not aware of that.
Yeah.
I imagine a lot of people are
Sometimes I
aware,
think
but-
people aren't aware, because
Maybe
I've
there's a big
seen,
sign.
I've seen brochures for selling houses,
Oh,
and
it says-
in this community, and they'll show pictures of the pier and the club, and I'm like, wait a second,
That's
that
not- yeah.
doesn't
Right.
necessarily come, you have the
Yeah.
opportunity to join the
Just
club,
shows
yeah.
how
pay for it,
informed realtors
but
are
it's
too.
not,
Well,
yeah.
I think they're informed.
Well, we
They
could
just
get
say
those
it.
flyers in our
They
mail,
just wanna
and I'm
sell
like,
it.
wait a second, this is not
Oh, yeah.
quite accurate.
There are actual laws about
Yeah.
that, but okay.
Let me think, there was one other thing.
Okay.
No, the gate was it. No, that's it, I'm sorry.
May I
Okay.
interject? We need somebody, if anybody has suggestions for someone that can change the camera chips and the batteries out on a monthly basis. John was going to undertake that, and he's not on the board now. Chris Boyles used to do it.
Yep.
I miss Chris.
When were they last changed, just to ask?
Oh, it's been months. It's been
Ooh.
quite a while.
Ooh,
There's been no issues, so
good.
not a big deal, I guess.
How often do they need to be changed?
Once a month.
Once a month.
And it involves going up a ladder, right, Gary? Yeah. So if anybody can think of someone.
It's a whole thing,
who's
it's an
willing
hour
to do
block of
that.
instruction involved. Or reading a manual, it's a thing, you know. Because when you replace the batteries, it goes stupid, you have to reprogram the whole
Oh
thing.
my gosh.
And you have to replace the batteries
And
usually every month.
Can you remotely reprogram it? You have to do it while you're up there? That's,
How high do you have to go up?
No, my son's not here.
like a.
10 feet.
That's not bad. I can do that.
Yeah, but wait, but how long, you said that programming takes how long?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to do that.
No, the instruction takes.
Batteries are-
Oh.
And learning how to do it is
Oh, okay.
much longer than doing it.
But how long does it take it to do it? If you know what
2
you're doing.
minutes.
Oh, okay, well,
Well, there's 3 cameras, so,
can you get like a more of a young person to do it?
well, that's why Gary's not doing it. I was doing it
Are you
for a long
comfortable
time,
going
and
up a ladder
10 feet.
10 feet?
I'm not doing that anymore.
Do we have a ladder? How would you get the ladder down? We don't have a truck.
I use a folding ladder in my
Oh,
van.
okay,
I had one of those
okay.
folding ladders, 3-way folding thing, that's
Those
what
are
I was
nice.
using, they work great.
Son-in-law has one of those. So you're serious, you'll do
Yeah.
that?
Wow.
The
Yeah.
man-
How am I gonna learn?
You don't need a block of instructions, the
Here.
manual's in the thing, you're out, take it home and read it. It's pretty easy.
Or you can also show them.
I can show you too.
Don't ask me,
Just don't call me in the morning.
after 10 o'clock.
You call me. Call me. I don't mind yet. You have them going on there. We only have three cameras.
Is it 3 or 4?
Where are they?
Three.
I think there's only 3 of
Where are
them
the
on
beach?
site right now.
Yeah.
Are they all at the beach?
One at the
Isn't there
gate.
one on?
Yeah, they're all at the beach. One in at the far end of the beach, one in sort of in the middle, closer to the
And one
entry gate,
toward the entrance.
and one at.
And is this on
close.
solid ground or is this kind of
Oh, yeah.
sand? or-
I thought
Well,
you
there's,
had-
it's sandy.
I thought you had one on Bayview too.
We did
We
for
did,
a
but
while,
we-
but we're, that's a fourth camera, is that in the?
It's gotta be in here someplace, I
Okay.
Yeah,
guess.
it's not active.
We were going to
now.
have it put on another area, and the person that was supposed to do that was never able to get to it.
Okay.
So I guess it's in the office. Or
Do we
maybe-
need it, that fourth one? I mean, do we still want to do that?
We haven't had any issues, I'm aware of.
Yeah, things been
Mhm.
so wet that people aren't doing it anymore.
That's right.
Okay,
Well, I'll just mention the repeater was down, which we used to contact the Calvert County Emergency Center. It's on a big antenna up in the northern end of the county, and yesterday we were supposed to have our radio net and it went blank, so I'm gonna try it again tonight. I just tried it earlier, and it doesn't seem to be up, so.
Is that why we hear the sound?
Yeah, the radio's on.
Uh-huh.
So is that what that is?
Yeah.
the TV's
But,
on too.
It's to link into we have to go through our Calvert Amateur Radio Association repeater, which then links us directly in. It generally works, we got a little problem. But we keep that place up, if anybody's interested. It's there, we unfortunately haven't had to use it, it's like Strategic Air Command. We have nuclear weapons, but we never want to use them. That's all of my report.
Okay, next is the tot lot.
I have a
Who wants to
question.
talk about the
I have a question, because I had like an email rant the other day about it. But the business that it's considered public, what does that really mean? Does that, because if it's a public lot on our private beach property, that makes no sense to me.
I don't
So
think she realizes.
what does that
it's-
mean?
I don't think she realizes it's, where did that come from? I don't even.
That was,
know.
that email you sent, that all that
That
stuff.
that
I-
Tom Shield
I
had found.
slogged that through that
I
whole
think
thing.
That would be like in a community, it'd be like in Solomon's, that's a
Okay,
public.
so but if it's on our
That's sort of
private
a
property,
general-
on our private
I don't
beach
think we would
property,
come under that.
because I was thinking, that seems very strange to me.
We have a sign up that says, I mean, he wasn't addressing that to our specific community, it was
okay,
just
but I'm
something that he
reading,
came
yeah,
across
I was reading
with
through
regard
that.
to
Plus,
tot lots.
plus the American Disabilities Act thing, and there just seemed to be a lot of bureaucratic stuff that just, I was very much in favor of it, and I read that thing, I'm thinking, wow, maybe we ought to rethink this, and the liability of that $20 million suit against somebody.
Yeah, you make a good point, the beach is locked up in the evenings and, not in the wintertime, but in the summer, there are signs posted everywhere that it's for use by DPPOA.
So anything inside that has that
It's
same.
private property.
Yeah.
I mean, you would still have to make sure it was maintained.
And the other thing about the citizen committee, we can't even, can people even show up or,
Right.
that seems like very strange.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't
But
fine.
a lot of the things, weren't they like more like recommendations? It's
Well,
not
I
necessarily a
couldn't
law.
tell. It wasn't-
Because
don't
I
think
was
it
reading it
required.
and
I
they were
couldn't
having
tell.
things
I
about
couldn't
like
really
how
tell.
much
Yeah.
soft material you need,
Yeah.
and said 12 inches, this and that and the other. And
Well,
I was like, I can't imagine.
What I wanna know is,
Going
what do you
like-
have to do so you don't get sued?
Right.
Well, that's the
But,
bottom line.
and that's,
but-
I think that's what he was trying to tell us.
I know, but
And
you
but
know,
which of those
even
things
if
were
they're,
really
if
binding?
they're community members, they'll sue.
Well,
No
yeah.
matter
They'll
what.
sue
So-
for any, whether,
Right.
So,
for anything, whether
right.
people do not read signs.
Little Johnny falls on his head and has a concussion, I mean,
They'll sue.
Well, but I think what Tom Shield was
So
trying
do
to
we
say
wanna
to
do-
us was,
that's what I
you
meant.
need to do A, B, C, and D. And the one thing in particular he talked about was that maintenance log.
But he did, he had that whole bunch of
Well,
stuff.
he ran into that later, he
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
And I think it was his way to caution us that if we're going to do it, make sure that you can back up the fact that you've purchased good equipment, you've had it installed
Mhm.
properly, you've maintained it, not just like
Mhm.
other communities, I understand that, oh yeah, they go down and cut the grass and the guys take a look at it.
Mhm.
To me, that's not a maintenance
Yeah.
log. A maintenance log is what day, who did it, what
Mhm.
client,
Yeah.
and so on.
Right.
That's what Tom Shield, I think, was just trying to,
To
oh,
protect
yeah, I ran
ourselves.
into this and here you might want to, you know,
Like, you said you had talked to CRE
yes.
about what they did or did
Exactly.
not do?
It's CRA, yeah. And yes, they simply, if somebody goes down to cut the grass, they look at it, I'm sure on a regular basis.
Yes,
But I would be, I looked, the webinar that I attended,
Mhm.
a year ago now, talked about that $20 million lawsuit. I'll bet it's the same one.
Probably is, yeah.
And, I mean, and that was new equipment, so they didn't,
But they
because
had
it
a
was
run
new
that was
equipment, they
broken
thought
though.
right, but they figured since it was new equipment, there wasn't a real need to worry too much about maintenance yet.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe it was faulty
Yeah.
Right.
installation or
It's
whatever.
poorly made or, yeah,
It's
something.
poorly made, cheap equipment, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But I think, yeah, Tom's point is, if you're gonna do it, make sure you keep a real strict log of all of this.
All that has a price tag.
And
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I think the important thing, because it looks as though we're going in the direction of not doing it, is being able to tell the community, we looked into it, we did our due diligence with regard to pricing, liability and insurance, and also the critical area, we can get a permit if anybody's interested.
We can.
But we would be in the buffer, so we'd have to get a variance for that. But it can be done. So we looked into that as well. I mean, if we go in the direction of not doing it, at least we can say,
Well,
we gave it a
I mean, I
try.
was very in favor of doing it, and now reading this thing, I'm thinking,
Well, and I think there needs to be an article in the newsletter
well, that should be
about
discussed,
what we have found out.
and discuss it at that March
And just,
meeting.
and have it be
Is
discussed.
there any more liability because it's near the water? I mean, because the one thing we're doing tracking
Yeah,
costs, it's a
yeah.
hot lot, and I know parents should be watching their kids.
Right,
But
right.
what happens
I-
if, you know, they're talking to Susie and one kid's up there and then one
Right,
kid goes
right.
and drowns or something? I mean,
So maybe it
it's
should be
terrible,
on
but-
the, actually on the agenda for the March meeting.
Yeah, I think it
That
should
could
be.
happen with a lot of
I think it
towns.
should
So
be.
people can
Right, but
see
you're
that-
you're tracking more families there, more kids
And
there.
somebody, I mean, our insurance will go up, I mean, I assume.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not covered under what, we have to,
No,
I
we
mean,
have
the
to be
premium
additional.
will be
Right.
increased, and where's that money gonna come from? Right now, I think it's in the budget, correct?
It's not in the
It's not in the budget. But I'm just personally more concerned about the liability this
Right,
time,
right.
because it just seemed like, and all that bureaucratic stuff that was in this, I thought, oh my God, headache, you know? Headache. Just, and I guess the citizens committee, that just, that didn't push me over the edge.
Yeah,
you know?
I think the
Can't get
Right.
it.
Do we still have a committee working on this?
It's a
Not
list,
really,
well,
no.
it's a list in Crystal, but it's not really being
Well, and
done.
John had
And
stepped
John-
up to say he would, and
But
then,
he's not doing it anymore.
right, and I think Tony kind of
Yeah.
stepped
So the
up
short
and
answer
said,
is
this
no.
is what needs to be done. you know,
Yeah,
then
Tony
we
said
go
either
to
we should
Tom.
do it or
Probably.
we should not do it.
Right,
Well, I think if
So-
you had more people in the community who are willing to get involved,
Mhm.
then I think it would be good, but
But
it
they
doesn't
say,
seem
I
like
mean,
they're.
people are interested in it.
So
But
what's,
it's just,
what's the feeling of the board today? Should we drop this, table it for now, and unless somebody comes in with a better,
you wanna just bring it up at the March meeting and say this is what we found and our inclination is to drop it? If that's our inclination, I don't wanna say, oh, you think, don't you
wanna
think, don't you bring it up,
discuss
think don't bring it up,
I
because
don't
people.
think so.
I think it should be discussed at the March meeting so that we can, so that
Put it
in
in bed,
June,
yeah.
when I get the letter saying, well, how come we don't have a playground?
Right, yeah.
I can respond and say, well, this is what the board has been discussing, we've been
Mhm.
discussing it for a good year.
Mhm.
It was discussed at the March meeting, did you not attend?
That means.
Do you not read your
yeah, oh, you
newsletters?
missed- yeah,
Because
yeah,
there was,
yeah.
you know, an article in the
Mhm.
newsletter about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
I think it's important to have it.
Yeah,
on.
and I think it should be brought up, and then if there are
Right.
more people in the community that really want the,
Mhm.
you
Then
know,
perhaps
meeting and.
then they need to, you know,
Step
step up and,
Yes.
But we still have to, on our end, understand what we're getting into and the liability.
Right.
More than, I mean, we always understood there was a liability issue, but it's kind of becoming more real.
But if we bring it up, then what's the position the board's gonna take?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to table it until, like, Tony's back in February to see what his input is?
Well, yeah, I think
He
we,
was fairly enthusiastic.
I guess that's a good
He
thing
was
to
very
do.
enthusiastic,
And
yeah.
I guess what I'm saying
Just wait
is,
till he gets back.
And then they.
okay,
Yeah.
if we bring, I didn't wanna bring it up in the March meeting, because
Right.
we don't have
We don't
a
have a
firm
position.
position.
Yeah,
Right.
If you're gonna bring it up, you gotta know what you're gonna say.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, there's another meeting. huh?
Mhm.
There is another meeting, that's,
Yeah,
That's
we
one of
have
those
March
things
meeting.
so
you're-
let's leave it on,
Meeting and a
let's
March
leave it on,
meeting.
we'll talk about it next month then.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Jamie Ward was supposed to come here to talk about
Oh.
ways to keep our beach. The,
Ah, yes.
what do you think? Should we call Jamie and say, Jamie, where the hell are you?
Jamie Ward is.
Will you come next
I
time?
can,
Who's Jamie Ward?
he's
He's Ward Construction, he does bulkheads and,
Okay.
Is he a Drum Point resident?
No.
Oh, okay, he's just an expert.
he was doing some work on an adjacent property,
he
Edinger.
volunteered,
I
he
think-
wanted, he was
and he-
trying to drum up work.
Oh.
Well, probably, yes, and he said, gee, I was there and I noticed your beach is
Oh,
really
okay,
eroding,
he's
I
the
could
one,
probably
okay.
offer you some suggestions on how to keep that from happening.
Okay.
Oh,
that would
And
be-
I said, okay, can you come to the January meeting? Or I said January or February meeting, he said yes.
Or should we
So-
have some expert in the field come and tell us what we ought to
You think about Kurt?
do? I'm not thinking about anybody,
May I
I'm just
make a
thinking out
suggestion?
loud.
Well,
I'm
I'm interested
saying-
to know what.
Well,
they're
here's the
doing.
thing,
Yeah,
if you have someone who does this for a living to come and tell you
Yeah,
what ought to be done, he's gonna tell you
what he can do for you.
what he can do,
Yeah.
not necessarily what is the best thing to do.
Yeah, there are options.
Well, we have both, I was gonna say have both, because then you'll hear,
Both sides.
well, you'll hear.
So
you'll know where they're
get
coming
Jamie's
from.
input and then have Kurt come, if that's what you're thinking of, and say, Kurt, this is what
Well, an
Jamie
expert,
suggested.
it's a geologist or someone on shore erosion specialist.
So is that Kurt? Okay.
He's
He's
one
a
of,
retired-
he is.
Is there other people you might wanna get input from more than just one expert, because sometimes
Well,
experts don't
That's
always
kind of
agree.
where I'm going.
Oh, okay.
And
I
sometimes
already
you
know
don't.
what Kurt's gonna say, so.
Oh,
Okay, so do you know another,
I
do
do not
you
have
have a
it.
contact in the county that we could tap into?
Yeah, how about Robin could put us
Oh,
on
wow,
something.
so-
somebody,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a great idea. I'm
Okay.
glad you thought of that, Peter.
Erosion of the beach area.
Right.
Is there any other?
Jamie may come in if I may speak.
Yeah, please.
Jamie, and I've contracted both Jamie and somebody else, and he was 3 times what the other guy was.
Oh.
She's crazy.
And Jamie does did the dock renovation, he does much work around here. He did the yacht club when it collapsed.
Does he do good work?
Well, yeah, he does.
I mean, you're saying it's
For
expensive, but he does.
price.
Yeah, but okay,
For
at least we would
price.
know what
Depends
had
on
to
who
be
you
done,
talk to.
whether we use him or not, that's a different
I
issue.
would get competing
Yeah, I would
bids.
say, again, he said that he might tell you what he needs to
I
do.
mean, I kind of agree
He didn't do a
with
great job.
Kurt's position,
Yeah.
that beach will
He
come
also
and
got Mill
go,
Creek in
no
trouble.
Well-
matter what you do.
Since I've been here, my beach comes and goes.
Yeah.
It comes and goes.
But I have
That's
a
a lot
jetty.
of story.
I have at least something
Cost
that
you
is,
money,
that's.
cost no.
Well, I'm sure either one will be happy to drop some riprap one way or another.
But you have to watch
That's
out
very
for
expensive.
Well, also the
Very
laws
expensive.
change sometimes.
what?
The laws change
Well,
sometimes about
that's
what
true.
you're allowed to.
Well, you have to see if you'd have to probably get a permit, right?
I-
To do
There
that.
are lots of other contractors that can do that kind of work.
Sure.
And the contractor would be the one who would get the permit, right? I mean,
I think
or
so.
we would.
But I mean, it's
If
your
you pay- if you pay them
responsible,
to
but
do
make
that,
sure
they'll
they
do
did
it.
it.
Yeah.
What is wrong with the beach, may I ask, that we're
Just the
worried about
erosion
this?
of it. Of course, this was before Rob Randall cleaned it up, too. I'm
But
sure
we
it
have,
was
we,
bad.
the thing is, we don't have a baseline of what it's been. We don't have any photos or anything like that. We should be periodically going down there and taking pictures so we can see what's happening with it. And is there anybody who can do aerial photos?
Well, I can tell you we've lost about 20 feet of beach since I've
Okay.
lived here,
And that's been how long?
12 years.
Okay, so there's a net loss of,
We have lost beach, but the sand comes and goes.
comes and goes. But you're saying it comes and goes, but it doesn't come back as far?
It has not come back to the extent it was
Right, okay.
12 years ago.
Also, when you see these tall trees, they take a long time to grow, and
Yes.
and they're going down.
Yeah, so
That's
that
a
way
clue,
you
then.
know,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no, there's
yeah.
nothing under there.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
holding them.
Mhm.
I don't know that, I don't know what the answer is. I don't think I want to talk about, there are lots of answers. The short answer is there's lots of answers.
So do we want?
Which is the best one?
Is there, what's,
I think you need an expert on
what's
it.
yeah, and what's doable and what's affordable? I mean, what's doable, what would we be able to get a permit for? What's affordable, what would, you know, what can we do within?
Let me put this bug in you guys' ears. Then take the time to go look on Google Earth
Mhm. Ah,
and look at what, at different places, and I'll give you a good place to go look at Thomas Jefferson Park.
mhm,
Go look there on the Potomac, on the Patuxent.
mhm,
They put parallel groins out in
mhm.
and see what that did with keeping their beach and what that did. And then look along, right along our Chesapeake, CRE and us, where people have put parallel and what that did.
Parallel or
The results,
perpendicular?
Perpendicular here.
right, parallel.
Mine's
Parallel at at Jefferson,
Okay,
Patterson,
uh-huh.
perpendicular
And
here, and you can see the
And what's the
difference
answer?
of what
What's the
happened.
answer?
Well, there's no good answer.
I mean, what?
That's the
what
short
did they-
answer,
what
is
did
there's
they-
no good
What
answer.
did they experience? I know that I have perpendicular jetty,
Right.
and
It creeps on one side and pulls it away on the other.
But I think I haven't lost, well, 12 years isn't a good amount of time, but I don't think, sometimes I get a lot, sometimes I lose it, but it never goes out more than it just seems to maintain, it seems to be stable.
Yes.
That's a
But
perpendicular.
down,
And-
down river.
See,
Okay.
what happens with the perpendicular ones, you're making me get into it,
Yeah.
I didn't wanna do
Well,
this. But when it's perpendicular, depending on which way the prevailing
Mhm.
winds and
Mhm.
flow of the water is, which is more down
Mhm.
the bay than up the bay, it will accrete on one side
Mhm.
and wash out on the other.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you put it on your edge of the property, you're gonna get beach,
But
your
we-
neighbor's gonna lose
But
theirs.
we have them all along lake where I live,
It'll still do that.
yeah, but I mean, we're all kind of
You
getting.
still get the divots behind it, no matter what, I mean, you can put them, unless you put them every 5 feet, then you've got this little teeny pathway to
Okay,
get.
so let's talk about the parallel then. How far out?
The parallel, and it
How far
creeps,
out?
well, it depends, and, there's,
Kurt talked about it.
So what
too,
happens though?
wasn't
What's
it
the
does
bottom
accrete
line?
in behind that.
So,
It creates a breakwater and
Okay.
it'll creep behind it. So you get, over time,
so
you
you
end
keep
up,
it, you keep your beach.
you end up with a beach all the way out to where you put the breakwater.
So you got-
Wasn't
It's
there a
usually
reason-
stone, big
Wasn't there a
stone.
reason against having those also?
Yeah, none of them are good,
represented?
because
I don't remember what it
you're
was.
disturbing the natural flow of things, so.
Well, what is, I mean, if you're Tangier
Which is
Island
where
and
Kirk's
and
gonna
you're,
come
and
in.
you're disappearing, I mean, but if you're Tangier Island and you're disappearing, it's just, you say, okay, well, let nature take its course.
This is,
Is
I'm
that
telling you,
Tangier
this is-
Island?
in my experience, that's where Kurt's gonna come down. If you're
Okay, so,
messing with nature.
Plus, I don't even know that, can you get them permitted anymore? Like, if
I
we
don't
went to the
know.
county and said we want to
so
put
let's
a
find
jetty
that
out
question out
there.
first, if we can't even get it
I don't think
permitted
we would be able
anymore,
to get that
then the
permitted.
discussion's
I
over.
think Jamie was talking more about keeping the beach we have, not trying to accrete
But how would-
sand
no, but
or
how would he-
increase it. I don't know. I have
Yeah,
no idea.
but I mean, it still would need a permit, because
Keeping
you'd
it
be
Oh,
working
yeah.
in that
safe
area.
is creepy.
So he must be able to get permits, because that's what he does for a living, right? So
Yeah,
he's been
that's
successful
my
doing
understanding, the state is,
Well, we
as,
weren't, so.
after the big thing about the cliffs,
that. Oh,
that the state has loosened up on their permitting process.
Oh,
so that
okay.
you can get
Okay.
permits easier now.
Well, it's definitely
It
worth
should be.
asking,
Oh,
yeah.
Doesn't
Ask
work
and
that way.
see
Yeah.
what's
Something about an edict
available.
from the governor.
So Robin Monikisen would be another person to ask
She
this
could put you
question.
in the right
She'll
slot.
put us in the right direction. Maybe John Swartz, because that's who she directed me to
Ms. Jones.
for the top lot.
Okay.
She said that's not really my
I'm not sure,
thing
if
or whatever, so
it
she directed.
might be
John
interesting to
Swartz.
try to get John to come out here and talk to her.
Yeah, it might be him.
John's not a very social person.
Oh, yeah. But he responds to email, which is
Okay.
It's because you don't have to be social to do
This is
that. You
true.
can sit behind my screen and not talk to
That's okay, just so he.
But he does know his stuff, he's been doing it a lot.
So maybe it's John Schwartz, not Robin, that I'll call.
I didn't mean that, John.
In fact, John Cracker.
Okay, when are we gonna have the next meeting? First week, second week of February?
I think it went back to the first week,
It
right?
did.
I won't
I
be
don't
here,
know.
For some
I will not be here,
Oh,
so,
I won't be here either.
Tony was confused on which Tuesday he needs to be on the fifth.
yeah.
That he will not be available for a board meeting in February. He thought it was the first Tuesday, it is the
And I think
second.
Jack, you're not available for the second Tuesday anyhow, right?
So
Yeah.
we're back to the first
So-
Tuesday, which is
I think
the,
so.
what?
Fifth.
So, the fifth, I will not be here on the fifth.
I will be here.
Oh, okay, so I will not be
I'm
here.
always
I wouldn't be here on the 12th, so.
Okay,
And then in March, then, that's the
That's the
one
12th.
that has to be on the
Yeah.
third,
the twelfth.
second Tuesday,
The
the 12th.
12th. Right.
Because, yes.
Yeah. Is the March one,
The second
but
Tuesday.
that's not our, no, our general meeting is in,
I haven't even
Oh.
said it yet.
we just do that, what, in June and,
No, March is their
Every 3
general
months.
meeting.
Is that the one that's
I
on
was gonna be on
Tuesday
it.
night, or is that on a Saturday?
It's gonna be a Tuesday. You know what, I've done this for how long and I can never remember, I have it noted on my desk.
I
'cause
figured
have
which
to
day,
look.
yeah.
I think it's the Tuesday meeting.
Okay.
Tuesday,
well, we switched it to Tuesday.
From Wednesday to Tuesday.
On
We just
Tuesday.
switched.
Whatever.
So twice a year, it'll be Tuesdays and not Wednesdays.